Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving straight into a really fascinating intersection where immersive narrative art collides head-on with real-world cybersecurity protocols. We're going to decode the Moore Sixth Sanctuary. It's a unique comic strip narrative that takes highly complex technical data architectures and actually translates them into a tangible, character-driven storyline. It's a visual narrative of cryptographic protocols in action.
Before we get into the technical architecture itself, we have to set the boundaries. The founder, Jacqueline L. Moore, explicitly states that the Moore Sixth Sanctuary operates as a legal and artistic non-binding social experiment. It's built for entertainment, architectural allegory, and educational simulation only. My absolute favorite part of this disclaimer is the closing line. Sovereignty is a state of mind. Results may vary based on your local ley line resonance. It sets exactly the right tone for the journey we're taking today.
Section 1. Architectural Allegory and Sovereignty, Blending Narrative Art with Digital Security.
So, we throw around the term digital sovereignty a lot in this space, right? But what does it actually mean in the context of the sanctuary? Well, in this realm, concepts like self-custody and identity protection aren't just dry software rules or standard compliance checklists. They are framed as epic quests for independence, explored through what's called frequency-based conceptual exploration, which, let's be honest, sounds a whole lot cooler than ticking boxes on a security audit.
Moving to Section 2, the three-strand failsafe collaborative cryptography. The absolute bedrock of the Sanctuary's cryptographic vaults is a mechanism known as the three-strand failsafe. Basically, it's a multi-layered lock requiring verified collective alignment. If you're familiar with digital finance, you'll immediately recognize that this directly mirrors the architecture of an M of N multi-signature or multisig cryptocurrency wallet. This failsafe is designed so that a single point of failure literally cannot compromise the intellectual property, the funds, or the network itself.
To put that into a real-world context, like the Bitcoin custody systems detailed by Unchained Capital, this concept is represented mathematically as a 2 of 3 or 3 of 5 quorum. This means, out of a total set of existing private keys, you need multiple specific keys to sign off on any access or withdrawal. You can't just guess one password and breach the system. It demands collective authorization.
When we break down the trade-offs, a single SIG, or what the narrative calls a single-strand setup, relies entirely on isolation. It uses just one private key. And sure, that's simple, but it makes the system incredibly vulnerable to a single point of failure, like a hack or a lost device. Multisig, on the other hand, which is represented in our comic as the braid, requires that M of N quorum, inherently creating shared security. The whole philosophy shifts from isolation to mutual support and alignment.
Section 3. Rejecting the mismatched strand when harmonic resonance fails.
Now, the core conflict of our story ignites when the system detects an anomaly. The central ledger accepts the first witness node perfectly fine, but it definitively rejects Daryl's signature for lacking harmonic resonance. This rejection is a massive, high-stakes event. It triggers the system's strict defense mechanisms. It's the narrative equivalent of a mismatched cryptographic key or a blocked user trying to access a highly secure digital network.
If we want a real-world compliance parallel, think about the FinCEN regulatory actions against Binance. We're looking at a stark contrast here. On one side, an accepted node with harmonic resonance and verified identity. On the other, a mismatched strand. Lacking resonance in the comic is exactly like a real-world user failing their Know Your Customer checks or trying to mask their true IP address using a VPN to bypass geofencing. The system flags the distortion and it locks down hard.
And here's the kicker. Because the security protocol strictly requires multiple witness nodes to achieve that multi-layered lock for root access, a brute force bypass is completely impossible. You can't hack it. You can't override it. Multi-layered locks demand exact mathematical quorums. Strict geofencing automatically blocks unverified access, and root access simply cannot be granted via some basic single-point password. Section 4. Witness node rebraiding. Restoring the protocol.
So if forcing your way in is mathematically impossible, how on earth do you fix it? Well, instead of an aggressive external override, the team has to collaborate. They have to utilize various artifacts, which serve as metaphorical representations of the system's attunement tools, to recalibrate the rejected input. They actively work together to braid signatures and sync their cryptographic keys back into a valid quorum.
There's a quote from the Sanctuary's logs that captures the emotional core of this technical process brilliantly.
I reflect distortion. I rise whole. It's a poetic invocation, but it perfectly describes the act of clearing out digital distortion, like shaking off credential harvesting or unauthorized tracking, and restoring the pure, uncompromised integrity of the nodes.
Section 5. Achieving harmonic alignment, the positive vibration baseline. This whole collaborative effort to braid signatures brings the mismatched strand back into harmony with the rest of the network. The system returns to what they call the positive vibration baseline, which is absolutely required to secure the intellectual property and the cryptographic vault. It's only at this point that root access is finally granted, not through an exploit, not through an override, but through genuine, verified mutual support. This brings us to the core philosophy of sanctuary security. It's simple, but it's incredibly profound. No brute force overrides. No simple, single-point passwords. The entire architecture relies on verified, collective, harmonic alignment. The big takeaway here is that true digital security isn't just about dry code. It's a deeply collaborative philosophy. Security itself becomes an act of mutual support. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative question to chew on. What is your state of digital sovereignty? And how strong is your local ley line resonance? Next time you're navigating your own digital networks, your multi-sig wallets, or your data custody setups, take a step back and ask yourself, are your systems truly aligned? And are you genuinely secured by collective resilience? Thanks so much for exploring the sanctuary with me today.